Alright, y'all, so I'm recording this. Today is September 8th. It's in the evening time. I'm just now opening this devotional, y'all. I have not read this devotional in a good little minute. So what really caught my attention from it was I noticed this date, September 2nd, 2024. And I was trying to figure out what that was. What is that? And I pulled it out, and it is a picture that my son drew of me, him, and my best friend, right? The man that God said was my husband. And so I ended up opening this book, and it opened straight to September 2nd. And the title was Clinging to the Old. Clinging to the Old. And, it put me in a space of, because then I went to today's, which is titled Reflecting. And I know in that way it's talking about like being a reflection of God. But it just made me reflect on the experience that I had with my best friend. Like, as this journey has really come to a close, it's making me reflect on the things that I've learned, how I grew, how much I grew, how much love I experienced, how much love I gave. And one thing about it, y'all, when you let go of your old life, as eager as you may be to experience something new, it is not just so easy to cut ties with your old self. Like, it may be easy to cut ties with a person, but with your old self, with an old previous former identity that you held, beliefs that you held so strongly to your heart, it's not easy to cut away from them. And so there's a video that I recorded, and I guess, maybe this is God letting me know to go ahead and post that, because I was very vulnerable in there. And I said that I struggle with, God made that promise to me regarding my best friend October 3rd, 2021, October 5th, 2021. And, he's released me since April of 2025. But even with the recent conversation with my best friend, I realized God was really allowing me to move forward. And it's a part of me that kind of still feel like I'm doing something wrong by doing that, because I was on this thing. God had me on this path for almost 4 years. And so doing something completely different now, looking in a new way, not looking for him to catch, even if we weren't in alignment, I always looked for him to catch up. And at this point, God is saying, don't even look for him to catch up. Really just move forward. When I bring you somebody, accept that person. Don't feel like you're doing anything wrong by accepting this new person and not looking back. And there's a part of me that I don't think I'm mourning that, but I still have a little worry. God, am I doing this right? Am I right by moving forward? And I don't know, I feel like even with this clinging to the old, it is real easy, y'all. And I've posted several videos about this, when God wants you to pivot. Yo, I talk about it. I talk about pivoting, and I talk about following God's direction and stuff like that, but it's not always easy. Sometimes it is easier, right? If God takes you from a job that you don't like anymore and he puts you in a new job, it's very easy to pivot from one job to the next. If God takes you from a bad situation and puts you in a better situation, it is very easy to pivot to the next. But it is not easy when you have had faith and hope in this thing that God has told you was going to come, and then God all of a sudden says, yeah, that's not going to be the situation no more. I want you to do something else. And your heart was really hung up, I don't want to say your identity, because you don't want to mix your identity in with nothing that God gives you, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a promise, whether it's a ministry, whether it's a purpose. You don't never want to mix your identity in with those things. Your identity is a part of those things, and those things are a part of you, but they're just a small piece of you. There's so much more to you than ministry. There's so much more to you than a marriage. There's so much more to you than working this job and opening this business that God wanted you to open. Your identity is not to be wrapped up in these things or in these people. And so when God wants you to pivot. That's why he doesn't want you to be attached to these things, because when he wants you to pivot, he doesn't want you to have such a hard time letting go of it. But if your identity is wrapped up in these things, you're not going to know who you are outside of these things. You are going to have to find yourself all over again. When you shed certain parts of yourself, you're shedding a part of yourself. You're not shedding your whole self and starting over again. You're shedding a part of you in this one area, and then in that one area, you're going to start over and you're going to grow more. But you're not shedding your whole being. Y'all, when God calls you to pivot, you should not be confused on what you are supposed to be doing next. If God tells you you are going to marry this man, and then in 10 years, because that man hasn't stepped up to the plate, because God has decided that he wants to do something different in your life, because God has seen unforeseen dangers coming at you, and he wants you to avoid them, and he says you will no longer marry this person, you should not be stuck trying to figure out who you are now, since you are no longer marrying that person. If God has gifted you with a job 20 years ago, and on your 21st anniversary, God says, I want you to quit. I want you to quit. You're not going to be fired. You're not going to retire. I want you to quit. You should not be confused on who you are outside of that thing. You should not be confused. And so I guess what God is wanting to say in this time is that there may come a season in your life where he is shedding the old you. New wine stand for new wine. He is shedding the old you. There's nothing wrong with having those memories, right? Because whatever that experience, whether it's with a person, whether it's with a career, whether it's with a business opportunity, whatever it is, it helped shape who you are. Something or some conversation or some seed that was planted in that season has helped shape who you are today. So he's not saying for you to forget about it and act like it never happened. But he's saying when he's urging you to move forward, you are not to still remain stuck in the past. When my baby drew this picture, y'all, I thought this is our first family picture. And how much of a blessing it is for my son to have drawn it when he was 5 years old. Right? But that's not the case anymore. And that's okay. And I don't hurt about it too much. When I see stuff like this, I kind of get hurt about it. But that's okay. Like today, I logged onto my tablet on my iPad, and his picture popped up in my Apple memories. It's the first picture I see when I log on to my iPad. And I'm like, now why would this be up there? Yes, it hurts that we are not on talking terms. And, you know, we're not going to have that happily ever after that I thought we were going to have. But it's okay. Because what did I always tell y'all? I want what God wants for me. And that's real. And I'm getting emotional because I want what God wants for me. I love that man with everything, y'all. I'm not mad at him. I don't hate him. I wish the best for him. But I told y'all, I wanted what God wanted for me. And if God ever released me from that, I would make sure it's okay. I would make sure that's what he wanted me to do. I wouldn't just be eager to run just because it was hard or because it was frustrating and the time was taking too long. I would make sure that's what he wanted me to do. Because I need to know that I'm going to get God's best. I don't want his second best. I don't want his sloppy seconds. I don't want him just throwing me something. Here, daughter, just take this. I want his best. So whoever he bring in my life got to be better than my best friend. The way my life is going to look in the future, it got to be better than what I thought it was going to look. And I thought my life was going to look great, y'all, because I had God's grace and God's covering over me, right? Because I was in that promise. So my life was going to be great. And my life is going to be even greater. But I can't accept greater if I'm still what? Clinging to the old. I can't accept greater if I'm still wrapped up in the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I can't accept greater if I'm still scared to move forward. I can't accept greater. So I don't know what the reason God wanted me to see that today, why he wanted me to see that picture and why he had me open it to this. But I'm wanting to encourage any of you who is walking away from something that God once promised you. And walking away by God's leading, not because you mad about it. This ain't that. This is not that. I'm not walking away from somebody because they took too long. I'm not walking away from somebody. Y'all, my phone finna die and my storage is up. So I'm going to just go ahead and close this out. But like I said, I don't know what the reason was that God brought this up for me to bring it. But, and I'm just looking at this TV box and it says expandable. And I want y'all to think about what it means to expand. It means to make room for something bigger. Let's look up the definition of expand. Is my phone dead yet? No. Don't die. Yeah. Expand means to become or make larger or more extensive. To increase in extent, size, volume, scope, etc. Expandable means to be able to be made larger or more extensive. Right? So God is doing more in my life. God is doing more in my life with my ministry, with my purpose, with my family, the family that he wants me to create. He's doing more. He's doing bigger. He wants bigger of me. He wants to give more to me. He wants me to make room for more. I can't make room for more if I'm still clinging to the old. And I'm still holding on to the old in the past and what it represented to me and what God said. Expand, y'all. Be able to expand. Be able to pivot. Be able to receive anything and everything that God wants for you. It don't matter if he told you he gonna give you an apple today and then tomorrow he changed his mind and said, I'm gonna give you an orange. It don't matter. You'll be happy and ready to accept either or. This ain't about God lying to anybody. This is about God seeing things that I don't see and wanting more for me. Wanting more out of my purpose. Wanting more for the people who's going to be attached to me in the future. Wanting more for my future kids. Wanting more for my kid that I have now. This pivot is about God changing my whole life. And about doing something that I can't see or think or know anything about. All I can do is receive. But I need to make space to receive it. And I just watched a word today when she was talking about making space. And I had no clue what she was talking about. Because I'm like, yeah, I got a lot of boxes around. But Lord, you know I can't clean all this up in one day. And she's like, no, it's making space in my heart. It is a scary thing holding on to this promise. And I went through the process, right? So there were moments where my husband was an idol. And I wanted him more than I wanted God. Right? I can admit to that. Now we are not there. I want God more than I want that man. I absolutely want to be married. 100%. I still want to be married by the end of the year. I don't care that it's September 8th. I still want to be married by the end of the year. But it don't have to be to that man. I want it to be to whoever God wants me to be with. Because he knows better than I know. And whoever I'm with, they going to serve God in a way that is going to mesh well with how I serve God in my purpose in God's kingdom. That's what I want. I want God to be pleased with my ministry and my marriage and my relationship and how I have my family, how I have my kids and stuff. I want God to be pleased with all of that. So, yeah, I want to go ahead and end this out, but I want to encourage you guys to like really think about the things that you are holding on to in the past and do what you got to do, y'all. Please don't be too hard and too prideful to cry about it. Cry. If you got to cry about it, cry. The tears you cry today water the seeds for tomorrow. I don't know if I came up with that or somebody else came up with that. But whatever you cry about today, all it do is water the seed. When you cry today about a loss, and you say, God, I accept your new word for my life, that is a seed that has been planted, and you are now watering that seed with your tear. Another thing, tears represent cleansing, purification. You are washing things away. Wash the old away with your tears. Wash your old experiences away. Wash the old heartbreak away. Wash the good times away, because everybody ain't just experienced heartbreak. So, yeah, y'all. This was a lot for me, because I promise y'all, I really just came and I was like, let me watch me a little word before I go to bed. And then I was like, well, let me open up my devotional. I haven't opened it up in like 2 months. And I just opened it. Before I even opened it, I see that picture, but I didn't know it was the picture. I just saw the date, so I thought it was like maybe some goals that I had wrote down last year, and I wanted to see like how my life matched up with those goals. Now I had no clue it was gonna be that picture, and then after seeing the picture of him and my son on my tablet on my iPad face, that was just a lot for me, because it's really like the realization like that part of my life is over. And I feel good about it, because I know God is bringing me somebody. I thought that man was the best thing ever at one point in time. So that means God is bringing me somebody better, y'all. That means God is bringing me somebody better. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that better. But that don't mean I don't have a little bit of sorrow. Not a lot. A little bit of sorrow about it. This was my best friend in the whole world, y'all. Anything good, bad, ugly go down, he the first person that know. And it's to the point we do not talk anymore. And we probably will not talk. If he does not reach out to me, and if I don't feel led to reach out to him, I will probably never talk to that man ever again. And that's a lot, because this was somebody who was a father figure to my son. So that is, even thinking about that is a lot. But I'm cool with it, because that's what God wants. If that's what he wants, I'm cool with whatever he wants. So, yeah, I just want to encourage anybody who's going through any type of transition like this. Like, nah, it's not easy, but it don't have to be hard, y'all. A lot of times we make it hard because we don't want to let go of the old. Let it go. What you holding on to the old for? Don't you know only something better can come? That old job, that old relationship with that man or woman, that old friendship, that old car, that old house, that old apartment, that old toy, that old book. Don't you know only something better can come? Don't you know the God that you serve, only better can come out of it? You don't know that? Let it go, so he can give you the better, so you can receive the better. I love you all. I'm going to go ahead and go and get this posted, but I love y'all, and I pray it touches y'all where it needs to touch y'all. I pray that it leads you to God to ask him, you know, what are some things that he's wanting you to let go of in this season. And I pray he gives y'all the courage to let it go. I will see y'all on my next video. Talk soon.